starting lineups for the Trojans. They will kick things off like this. Kristen Simon, as well as Tamitha Binlay in the forward positions. Courtney Jaco, the junior point guard, to go along with Sadie Edwards and Alexis Lloyd in the guard spots. And on the other side, for the Oregon State Beavers, they have 5 seniors on their team. 3 of them will get starting nods. Devin Hunter and Ruth Hamlin in the high and low women's basketball tournament presented by New York Life, and we are underway.
But everywhere you go during the conference season, people are talking about Oregon State and winning the big game, winning the tournament, going to the NCAA tournament and representing and playing well. And right off the bat, what do? You run a play for your player of the year, curling off that screen. She is a perfectionist at doing that.
Senior out of Clarkston, Washington, Jamie Weisner leads the team in scoring, 17 points per game. She's been probably her most consistent this season in her senior year. Simon from the high post to the low takes it right at Ruth Hamlin and gets the lay-in.
Big bucket early. For Weisner against Stanford last weekend, she never had that open of a shot till she got to the free throw line. I mean, she had to work for every single step she took.
Hamlin one-on-one inside, can't get the shot to go, stays with it. They track it down, and they'll get a whole shot clock.
Who kept it alive? Jamie Weisner over the back, just flip it. Couldn't get the rebound, but could get the touch.
Weiss gets past her defender. She's open and sticks it. Jamie Weisner is one of the best rebounding guards in the conference.
She is, and Weiss getting off to a good offensive start, important for the Beavers as well.
Weiss missed 8 games earlier in the season. Had the hand injury in the Tennessee game in the non-conference, but they got her back, and Oregon State was still able to play very well without her, but glad to have their leader. Shot clock winding down.
To say they play well, it was an absolute understatement. Really, Krista, if you think about it, as we see Simon with the shot go up. 7-1 in her absence, including a 1-point loss to Notre Dame in South Bend.
Very close, tough competition, one of the toughest schedules in the conference. Hamlin gets herself open inside, and somehow they got it to her. That was a tough angle.
Yeah, don't judge Ruth Hamlin by how she played, you know, for half of this season. The last couple weeks, she has been absolutely on fire. Ruth Hamlin, All-American.
Hamlin, the senior out of British Columbia. And good movement without the ball from Binlay.
So we've seen Weiss, we've seen Weisner, the big 3. It's complete. They've all been involved.
It's quite a trio, and it's so important for them to have the balance. Kick out to Jaco, shot up the front of the rim.
That was going last night. It's got to go tonight. Been a lot of talk about if you play the first night, it's a benefit on the second night, because here comes Oregon State. They haven't played their first game yet. Oregon State does not look rusty one iota.
No, they don't. And for USC, they had a very tough, fast-paced game against Washington State. A 4-point win for them. Penetration in and finding Hamlin down on the left block.
Last year, it was embarrassing. If they're going to play throughout the weekend, they need this big contribution from their power trio.
Well, if we're going to tell the Rocket story, it went off last weekend. It went well. And we found out today from Scott Rueck, as we see an inside shot by Simon, well done, that Ruth Hamlin actually sewed the parachute by herself for the Rocket. And I asked her before the game, who taught her to sew? And she said, my Auntie Audrey taught me to sew, and I have my own sewing machine on campus. It's a Bernina. So the legend of the hammer continues to grow.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Jill. Yeah, and thank you, Mary, for that, because, like, we're supposed to know what that is. I don't know. Anyway, I'm impressed.
What, a parachute or a sewing machine?
What that brand of sewing machine is.
Oh, you really don't know?
Hey, I'm more of a singer kind of gal, but I don't know.
That's why they have Google for people like you.
That's why she's a mechanical engineer, too.
Who sews and makes rockets and rocket parachutes.
Tipped out of bounds. USC, they're getting production by Simon, who's being guarded by Ruth Hamlin. Simon not backing down from her.
The key for USC's success has got to start on the defensive end. They have to disrupt, they have to rattle, they have to annoy, they have to bother. You pick the adjective. It's got to happen if they want to win this game.
Starts with the defense. You are right. It's something that I struggle with a bit, as again, Ruth Hamlin just keeps working without the ball. 6 points.
The point Scott Ruock made to us before the game is Ruth Hamlin's been so consumed by school, which she is going to finish in about a week or two, that has taken some of her focus maybe away from basketball. She is fully engaged now. She will graduate early. Next quarter, she does not have to attend school. She's just ready to go, and she's lighter. She's just mentally playing hard, and she's involved, and boy, is she playing well. And Gabby Hansen unleashed.
The fast pace, Hansen outrunning Weiss, able to find her. It started with a steal by Marie Gulich, who's checked in, the sophomore out of Germany, and it's a 10-2 run. It would make a difference as a student athlete, especially a mechanical engineer like Ruth Hamlin, if your classes are pretty much done, your rocket took off and landed safely. I'd say you're feeling pretty good. And a miss there by Simon. Here comes Weiss again. Loses her footing.
Marie Gulich into the game. Boy, she's been valuable off the bench, the sophomore out of Germany.
What a nice tandem in the high and low post with she and Hamlin, and it's a jump ball. It's going to go to USC.
Gabby Hansen is a key component for Oregon State. Big success in this postseason. Runs the floor well, an outstanding defender, but offensively she has struggled at times this season with her individual offense. That's a great way to get it started.
Her defensive effort is what fuels the Oregon State team. She was a Pac-12 All-Defensive Honorable Mention member this year. And the whistle blows, big hustle on the baseline. It's Weiss, draws the foul. It's Alexis Lloyd being a little too aggressive.
Puts the ball on the floor, trying to make something happen. Is that a charge? Is that a block? Easily a call that could have gone either way. You can see Weiss just kind of falling, throwing herself into it. At the same time, offense with a whole lot of momentum.
The arms going forward. The redshirt junior Lloyd, she is a very aggressive, scrappy player. Now some help D, and a little too much there from Mazik, who's checked in. Leah Mazik, the freshman out of Charlotte, North Carolina, gets called for the foul.
We're happy to see Temi out there. We weren't sure whether she was going to play today. Coach Cooper said she'd been to the doctor, been cleared to play. They've worked hard to find a brace for that knee. Certainly don't want to do anything to endanger her future moving on to the next level.
Yeah, it was a scary fall in the game against Washington State last night. She was able to stay out there as Weisner gets enough space to get the three ball.
Some teams' approach is to lay off because you're worried about that drive, but she only makes 1.5 threes a game, but she's got the range shooting 43%. There really is nothing she doesn't do well.
In the lane, Sadie Edwards, a nice pull up there. The mid-range jumper is good.
Edwards was terrific last night.
Transfer from Connecticut. She was eligible midway through this year and finally really got the game going. Her numbers have just shot up. And a miscue by the Beavers. You don't see that very often. Third turnover for Oregon State.
Weisner moving still well without the basketball. The dare. Hey, go ahead, shoot it. All right, I will. There's some damage right there.
5 points. Perfect shooting so far for Jamie Weisner. 5 assists for Sydney Weiss for the 7 field goals made by Oregon State. Binley faces up. Yeah, and the help D strips it. Skip pass to Weiss. Feeling it.
Feels a little like a game earlier today.
You can see the focus for this Oregon State team. They are a much more mature, different team than they were last year in this position. And at this point, Scott Ruock last year said our team was kind of tired. We were young. We just couldn't maintain the edge, especially defensively, as Ruth Hamlin was trying to get some help. Jaco causing some pressure. And Scott Ruock not happy. I thought it was going to be a travel.
Coach Ruock fired up early. And he's up 18-6.
I thought they called a foul then, and I thought he was mad about that, but they have not signaled that way.
It was a travel on Ruth. Just trying to maintain that pivot foot, just drag the toe a bit.
Maybe he wanted the foul, as the little roller there is good for Sadie Edwards. She's got that little lefty layup down.
She does, and she is just a player who gets in for the challenge.
17 points in their win against Washington State last night. She's had double figures 12 of her 21 games. Weisner guarded by Edwards. Get yourself deep, nowhere to go. There's Gulich. And tries to trickle it in. Hamblin trying to clean it up and can't get the putback.
The push by SC, and they want to push. They don't want to spend the night in the half court against this defense, this great half court defense.
Yeah, that is so important for them, but transition D getting back. Simon in the high post. They need her to hit some of those. Misses that one. Big change last night in the win against Washington State was when they were able to reverse the ball, and that was something Cynthia Cooper told us was so important, making that extra pass. Physical play inside with Sydney Weiss. And she is fouled.
Oregon State is really tough to prepare for because their playbook involves so many plays, and a lot of the players don't even have them all written down because Scott Rueck is always tweaking it. Instead of a flare here, we're going to curl there. We're going to down screen here instead of back screen. You know, he's always putting on little tweaks. It's very much, it reminds me, worked for 3 summers with Ronnie Rothstein down in Miami when he was coaching the WNBA team. And every shoot-around of every game day, he was tweaking plays. It makes it very difficult for teams to come out and run an effective scout when you're doing something different than what the scout says.
Says a lot about the type of student athletes that Scott Rueck recruits also. You've got to have a very high basketball IQ to be able to make those types of changes, as Weiss only able to get 1 free throw.
Temmie's got to get going. Just wonder how much that knee is bothering her. She did not participate in the shoot-around today.
She's been quiet. Has the brace. Everything was good, and they were hoping that mentally that would help her move past it. There she is, cleaning it up. Gets her first points of the game.
Got it to single digits. Time to do the work on the defensive end. Get into passing lanes. Try to get a steal.
Finlay, her 10th double-double last night, 18 points, 17 rebounds in the win against Washington State. Hansen gets the shooter's touch in the right corner.
Very big basket for Gabby Hansen. Big basket for Scott Rueck. The confidence that will give him, hey, Gabby, you're doing a great job.
3 for 3, the Beavers behind the arc. USC's only taken 1, not able to get it. Under a minute left here in quarter 1. There's Kaden Tato, who's checked in, number 2 for USC. And Marguerite Effa, 13 for the Trojans. Aggressive drive by Jaco, gets past her defender, lays it in.
So important for USC when you're on offense. Get your head up and look at the bucket. Everybody except Jaco's heads down, thinking about what they're going to, the move they're going to put on. Got to look at the basket, bring the defense up, then put it on the floor.
Skip pass to McWilliams. Can't get the shot to go. Let's see if the Trojans can cut into the deficit.
You have to try to run Gulich down the floor. See if you can beat her. Beat Devin Hunter. Get to the rim.
Clock down to 3. Between the legs, Edwards, and the shot is short. The defense out on her. And that'll be the end of quarter number 1. The number
happened, but you know, unfortunately today we fell to a good UCLA team.
When you look at Oregon State, how do you beat them? What do you have to do?
Well, you have to get it inside. You have to pass the ball around a little bit, work it. You can't get impatient, and you have to attack. You have to find a way to get into the gaps, get into their bigs, because if you don't do that, they're so long, they're going to make it difficult for you all game long.
8 points already for Ruth Hamblin, a player who's really putting it together. And 5 seniors. How much does experience matter in games like this?
Experience matters a ton. You know, I think USC has to do a much better job of shooting rhythm shots. You know, they didn't get their first rhythm jump shot until that first quarter. About the 4-minute mark, Sadie Edwards attacked the gap and was able to get a pull-up jumper. They need to do more of that more often.
That last bucket, Timmy Finlay, and how about a nice addition? That's a pretty nice pickup in the offseason for Cynthia Cooper.
Not too bad. Not too bad. I think a lot of teams in the Pac-12 would have loved to have her.
Takeaway by Tato. 5th turnover by Oregon State.
The first fast break opportunities, but great transition defense takes it away. And there she is.
There she is. The size and length. You know, Ruth, it's imposing. And when you are going up against that, you have to meet it with force. She's not going to move. She's not going to make many mistakes. She doesn't commit many fouls trying to block shots. She's so long.
Marguerite Effa at 6'3" tried to take it in at Ruth Hamlin, who's 6'6", and she makes her look tiny. Here's Fagbinlay. She'll try it.
Now that's a tough move. You got to get into her chest, get into her body, make her foul you. Otherwise, that'll be sent back to half court. But that was a great job and a great finish.
We're going to take a look at the replay, Coach, and exactly right. Just take it. A couple of future WNBA players going head-to-head right there.
Has to close the space down, and she did exactly that. When you get into her chest, it takes away her ability to get to the ball.
And can't quite get the three-point play as Fagbinlay. But you're right, being very physical, easier said than done going against Ruth Hamlin.
Absolutely, but you have to have a no-fear mentality when you're playing against Oregon State. They're so big, they're so long. You cannot look at them with fear in your eyes, or they're going to make it a long night for you.
Shooter's touch for Devin Hunter, one of the 5 seniors for the Beavers.
Yeah, Tara Vanderveer knows how that feels. She knocked down 5 long-distance threes up at Gill in that big game.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the scout. They weren't quite expecting that, but Devin Hunter made him pay. And the high post this time is Fagbinlay.
You know, Coach, we've talked all season long about how the Pac-12 is the #1 RPI conference in the country and really focused on some of the top 5 teams. How difficult is it for everybody else when you're trying to make progress, but you're in the #1 RPI conference? You're making progress, but, you know, maybe you're falling behind because everyone else is going so much faster.
Absolutely, absolutely. The thing you look at the results today. You know, you have a number 10 seed in Cal coming in here beating the number 2 seed. And I've been telling people all year long that anybody can beat anybody in the Pac-12 conference. And that was proved today.
Well, you all beat Cal on that very first weekend, and that sort of set them on their path because between ASU and Arizona, it was a very tough start for Cal in the conference play.
Absolutely, and we did a good job in that game, but I think Cal today really showed that their length, their size, it makes a huge difference.
It's almost hard to say that there are upsets in the conference this year just because everybody could win on any given night. Do you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. When everybody's capable of knocking down shots at a time or two or making a play here, making a play there, and going on big runs, you have to understand that for 40 minutes, you have to be on your toes, you have to be active, you have to be moving, and you have to execute your game plan.
Coach, I talk about this a lot. 26-18, SC's got an opportunity, and you throw a turnover. I mean, this is the point in the game. You can really, you got to give away points.
And we make another run here. Courtney Jaco gets an opportunity to score the basket. So now, just like that, it's a 2-possession game.
And you could see how the game changed when Cynthia Cooper went with the 2-2-1. You've got to make Oregon State get a little frantic. But right, then that happens.
That'll take a little wind out of your sail as Weiser hits that. Cynthia Cooper told us, she said, earlier in the season when they had more depth, you could apply pressure, you could run more against Oregon State, and it did cause them some problems. But at this point, you got nothing to lose. You probably got to just put it all out there, right?
You have to let it all hang out. And right now, they have to mix it up, have to kind of keep Oregon State off base. Because if they allow them to get comfortable, they can shoot jump shots all game long. It'll become a shoot-around instead of a basketball game.
Very high to Ruth Hamlin, very low. She gets such great positioning in the paint.
Jamie Weisner in the corner. You shoot 43% from 3. You cannot take a step back and put your arms down. Kristen Simon.
You have to close the space. Have to close the space down, make her put the ball on the floor. But the disadvantage to that is Kristen Simon can't stay in front of her when she puts it on the floor. And so you have to be able to rely on your team to help you defensively, but you have to run it off the three-point line.
That's where the big word is, help.
Okay, Jamie Weisner was looking to her left and then just went ahead and shot it. I mean, really.
She's a tough player. She's a tough player. I have a lot of respect for her as a player. She can do it on both ends of the floor.
10-point lead for Oregon State. They continue to work it inside. Really not a true matchup against Ruth Hamlin down there.
That's tough. That's tough. That kid has great hands. She does a really good job when she gets it in the paint. She doesn't miss many of those.
11 points for Hamlin. That is her average. And nice little up and under by Aaliyah Mazik.
2-3 zone by USC. By Oregon State. USC attacks it. The key for us is, can you maintain the energy it's going to require? You got to dig yourself out of the hole. Coach, you know what this is out. You got to dig out, and then you got to stay out.
And you have to have plays like this happen. Hopefully she can finish this down the stretch. If you can't convert those, it's going to be tough.
Mazik took it right into the defender getting back as Wisner did everything she could to try to save the skip pass. So checking in, it's Alexis Lloyd back into the game.
Still a 10-point game. SC, you're hanging, but you got to make some progress.
And they have to be comfortable being in this position right now because I don't think they played their best basketball, and it's only a 10-point game.
Samantha Signer in, Katie McWilliams also for Oregon State.
Got to get it inside. Got the matchup you want with Signer on Fagbeckenly.
You are right. You got to try to pull Ruth out a little higher if you can. Simon's doing all that she can. Lefty finger roll no good. Rebound down to Hamblin.
Coach, I feel like you want to get up and start walking around. And
you know, those are contested shots.
Are the officials upsetting you at all?
Those are contested shots. If you're going to take those type of shots, you have to close that space down. Otherwise, it just doesn't make any sense to take them. You have to be a little bit more aggressive than that.
Finger roll by Hamblin, 13 points for the senior.
So Hamlin's finished with school. Can you tell the pressure's off? I mean, she's playing unbelievable.
Playing really good basketball right now. I think USC has to find a way to get Courtney Jaco some shots in her comfort zone, some catch and shoot shots.
Drive on the baseline. The Beaver Nation, they travel very well to follow this Oregon State team. It's a great thing to see. They want to stay as long as they possibly can. They want to see this team take the title for USC. They'd love to be a spoiler again. They did it back in 2014. 1 for 2 from the line for Mazik. Hansen moving around, pass off the mark to Signer, and over and back the turnover. That's the 8th on Oregon State.
But no easy layup at the end of that turnover. You have to come down, you have to earn it in the half court. Very small lineup on the floor right now for USC.
Leah Mazik running the point.
2-3 zone.
Courtney Jaco getting a breather.
Nice ball reversal.
Lloyd gives it right back to Simon. Good second effort by Effa. Zeke. They're going to call an offensive foul. And that's a second personal on Aaliyah Mazik. A little push off. Trying to get a little space as Ruth Hamlin was coming over. Cynthia Cooper up talking with Kyle Bacon, one of our 3 officials, Anita Ortega, and Brenda Pantoja. Hamlin continues to work in the block. She is fouled by Marguerite Effa.
One of the reasons Ruth Hamlin is so effective, look where the ball gets delivered, how high, go up, has great hands, knows where she is at all times around the bucket. Extremely effective. We've talked about this over the years. Just her understanding from all the math classes she takes, mechanical engineer. She understands geometry. She understands angles, and it all started when she got to campus and how to block shots and what angles she needed to take. And now she takes that approach on offense as well. And I mean, I never thought about it as a math problem when I was playing basketball, but then again, I was about as far from a mechanical engineer as you could get.
Well, you know there are angles, but yeah, geometry was not my best math. That's for sure.
Ruth Hamlin doing a lot of talking in the back of that zone. It's a key position. You're sort of the traffic cop back there.
Simon trying to get low behind the zone and does.
Effective. 4 points. Excuse me, 6 points on 3 of 8.
Sophomore Kristen Simon out of Gardena, California. Had 10 points last night in the win against Washington State.
Katie McWilliams, hey, against traps. Don't bring it over to the sidelines. Keep it in the middle of the floor.
Topside D by Simon, and it ends up in the hands of Mazik. Weiss tries to break up the fast break.
2-on-2. Weiss just steers it out.
9th turnover by Oregon State.
There you go.
And how about 3 off of it by Mazik?
A little more than 2 minutes to go in the half. Strong finish. If you want to have a chance in the second half, key minutes here. Scoring drop for Oregon State, 2.5.
And the pass off the mark down to Ruth Hamblin by McWilliams. 10th turnover.
Again, the pass from the post out to a perimeter shooter. We saw this so effectively last night. Coop said that's all I talked about at halftime.
Yeah. 8-2 run by USC. They're back in this ball game. Under 2 minutes left in the half, and a travel, though, called on Simon.
Boy, you got it rolling, and then you shoot yourself in the foot.
Not taking advantage of those opportunities. Ruth Hamlin's out with a breather. Fagbinley's going to come back in. The tandem with Simon. We'll see if they can take advantage with Ruth Hamlin on the bench.
10 Oregon State turnovers. They only average 15 a game, so they're above their average right now for a half.
Gulich is in.
And for Coop, you're not necessarily looking for a steal when you do that pressure, but just choose some time off that shot clock.
Hunter seals, hangs on, can't get the layup, and the rebound is down to Edwards. This is the fast tempo. USC going to try to push.
Big possession.
Lloyd on the drive, too much off the board. Now the Bees will look to run. Weiss has the opening, shot off the mark. Simon fighting for the rebound, and she got hit.
Simon is really having an impressive half. She's slow coming down the floor after taking that hand to the face.
Under a minute left in the first half. Aggressive drive, and one by Sadie Edwards.
Sadie Edwards, talked to Coop about that today too. Said, yeah, sometimes she does think she could step right in the WNBA right now. A little shake, a little bake. Challenge Gulich. Big time play.
Second personal on Marie Gulich, so Ruth Hamlin will check back in. An aggressive drive by the sophomore out of Meridian, Connecticut. Played in just 6 games in 2014 for UConn.
17 points last night.
Gets the 3-point play, 9 points. And again, our State Farm halftime report coming up after this. A takeaway by USC. Ashley, Roz, and Ann back in our Pac-12 Network studio.
And I'm sure they're going to talk about the turnovers. That's exactly what SC has to do. You must turn Oregon State over, score off of it, and cut the number of possessions that Oregon State has in the half court.
Fagbinley in the lane, shot is short. And she comes in trying to save it, and instead it's a foul as Ruth Hamlin had position.
Boy, so unusual to see Temi just not want to take that shot, just taking her time, thinking about it.
First personal on Temi Fagbinley, the 5th-year senior out of Nigeria.
Lloyd has not scored. She needs to get it going. Edwards with 7, Jaco with just 4.
Whistle again. Foul going against Alexis Lloyd. That is her second. Away from the ball. Weiss will go to the stripe. 6 points for Sydney Weiss. She'll add to it. 8 assists for the point guard.
Her career high is 12. She's well on her way.
Gets them both. Mazik back in for USC. 18.2 left in the half.
There is no comfort for Oregon State. USC came roaring back. Put themselves in a terrific position.
Started with some excellent defensive plays. They added some pressure and took advantage.
Gotta go. Gotta look at the clock and know it.
Edwards, she wants it. Left wing, shot is short, and that'll do it for the first half. But what a comeback by USC. Not going away. The momentum had shifted, and they've made a push, and they've cut it to just a 5-point lead for Oregon State.
And we heard Ashley in the studio talk about where they are positioned with Charlie Crane. This is a huge game. You're within 5. A great start to the second half is so important. Effective offense, move the basketball, find some open shots.
That can't be the way Scott Rueck drew things up to start it off with the turnover. They try to go into Ruth Hamblin, and it goes out of bounds. The 12th turnover by Oregon State. Aggressive drive and a nice finish. Sadie Edwards, that's the thing that Coach Cooper told us about her. She said she finishes.
And she's fearless. I mean, she gets right into the teeth of the defense, and we heard, you know, Nia Butts talk about that. You've got to go at them. You cannot be fearful of all that size inside.
Weiss comes out. It was an air ball in the hands of Devin Hunter. And it's all ball. Devin Hunter saying, but what about my jersey from behind? Instead, jump ball. It's going to stay down with Oregon State.
Sadie Edwards forgot a really important component. Box out on the weak side.
Find the body. She actually stepped on the inline, so it goes to Oregon State. Gulich is back in, so a bigger tandem with Gulich and Hamblin in there. Weisner tries to tip it into Ruth Hamblin, and instead, takeaway.
Simon's so much more active. It's paying dividends.
Not a lot of depth, and at this point, you absolutely have to have every single player giving you everything they have in their role. As Binley can't get it, Ruth Hamblin gets the rebound.
Timmy does not look as dynamic as she was last night, just not moving with the same efficiency.
Weisner all by herself, makes them pay.
Well, she just takes your hopes and dreams and dashes them, doesn't she?
She really does. She's a dream dasher. 4 for 4, Jamie Weisner.
3 for 3 from three-point range.
Simon by herself in the high post, takes it right at Ruth Hamblin, and that's what she does best, shot blocking. Weisner on the break, lays it in, so the tempo up, and it's favoring Oregon State.
So you're within 3, you're feeling some great momentum, and then, like, the door just slams in your face. Now you got to pull it back open.
We've seen Oregon State do this multiple times in the season where maybe they had a bit of a slow start in the first half. It was close at halftime, and then they come out in the third quarter and just pounce. Aggressive drive by Edwards. Wants to draw the foul, but they won't give it to her.
We all wish when we were guards in college that we had Ruth Hamblin behind us, because you get beat. It's like, thanks, Ruth.
A takeaway by USC. And Jaco was looking for some help, somebody trailing.
I see Roz knew how that felt, because she had Chene and Nneka and Jane Appel.
It does make you a better guard with a player like Ruth Hamblin in there.
It does.
I could be a good ball handler with Ruth Hamblin in there. Simon, it looked good, but off the mark. I get the impression Oregon State wants the tempo up. They're looking to push. How is Weisner open again?
It's a question Cynthia Cooper is asking herself on the sidelines, calling it time.
Just getting to this point and just not been able to finish.
And we've talked to Scott Rueck a lot about that over the course of the year. And we said today, did you bring it up again? He said, no, the team understands the history, what they've been through, but they also know what they've accomplished in the regular season the past 2 years. It's a very confident team.
Yeah, he said they don't really need any motivating factors at this point. He said they know, and now we just have to execute. As it's tipped around and a foul. As Genvonte Hill has checked in, third personal is going against Alexis Lloyd. There's Hill, one of the seniors, a transfer from St. Paul, Minnesota. Hasn't had a lot of play this year, but she can run the point.
Lloyd has not scored. It's a big factor for USC. They need her involved.
Debbie Hansen on the drive. And one for Ruth Hamblin. As Hansen lost the ball for a second, and it ends up in Ruth Hamblin's hands.
There were times in Ruth Hamblin's career where she would double and triple pump and just not really know how to confidently make this shot. She's a little far under the basket, but just really focuses, takes her time, and with a shot blocker behind it, takes care of business while she's getting fouled.
Ruth Hamlin gets her 8th double-double already on the season. She has 15 points, 10 rebounds, but can't get the three-point play. Prior to the timeout, it was all Jamie Wisner, an 8-0 run by Oregon State, and it was all Wisner. Oh, there's the finisher, Sadie Edwards with the lay-in.
Boy, beautiful job, coming right, veering off left, and the finish with that left hand.
And that stops an SC drought of over 3 minutes. Wisner using the screen, hesitates for a second, and still makes the shot. I don't want to jinx her, Mary, but as I mentioned, she has not missed a shot.
Yeah.
Maybe
7 for 7, 4 for 4, 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Temi.
8 points for Finlay. She's been very quiet in this one. Can't get that shot to go. Hasn't really been looking as aggressively for her shot tonight.
Well, clearly the focus for Oregon State is to take away her drive, take away her shot, be punishing, be physical with her.
They had a couple of different defenders on Finlay. Marie Gulich has had the task at times.
The machine that is Jamie Wisner, coming off screens, little head and shoulder fake. I've said this all season long. It's like she's in the movie Hoosiers. I mean, she's just right out of it. Head, she doesn't have to put the ball on the floor to make something happen.
It's batted around. She's hounded by Mazik. And now Hill will run the point. Guarded by Jaco. Ruth Hamlin had position for just a moment, but it was Finlay holding her ground, and Ruth Hamlin gets called with the personal.
They need to make a run through this tournament like USC did a couple of years ago, but it was double OT, 108, 104 at Haas in double overtime. I think Roz did that game.
Yeah, they are making it magical so far, and they will be in that semifinal tomorrow against the Bruins. And they keep the magic going. This one was a 5-point game at half. In this third quarter, Oregon State comes out, and they start to attack and push. That last foul against Gulich is her third.
Jaco needs to get involved. Just 4 shots in this game. She's got 4 points.
Mazik, too much on that. Off the hand of Gulich, it'll stay with USC. USC, a bit of a drought, 1 of 8 from the floor. Gulich comes out, Hunter back in. Jaco has been quiet, and to have such an exceptional game last night, 19 points against Washington State. Haven't really seen her. A little no-look pass to Finlay. Mazik, the assist.
Maybe that'll get him going.
10 points for Temi Finlay.
For SC, you're expending so much energy on the defensive end when you're full court, back into 3/4, into half, and just have to work on every single cut when you're guarding Wisner or Weiss, McWilliams. Then you got to come down and have energy on offense. They played last night. Oregon State did not.
Hunter rejected by Mazik. Edwards.
Sensational.
What a play by Edwards. Up and under, right to left. Weiss.
See, here's the problem. You expend all that energy, you make a great play, and you give away points. You can't let it happen.
7 of 10 shooting.
Open shots are giving away points when it's Oregon State as the shooter.
They are lighting it up behind the arc.
We're lighting it up, period. 63% from the floor.
A roller for Sadie Edwards.
Boy,
Edwards,
I'm a believer.
I am too. 15 points for her. She's a sophomore. We have a lot to look forward to for her.
Hey, we know you're great if you start at UConn.
Yeah.
Okay? You may not have stayed at UConn, but if you start there, you're pretty darn good. 10-point game.
Clock winding down. Mazik on Weiss and all over her. And fouls her. Third personal on Mazik. Gabby Hansen will come back in. Williams will get a rest. Zeke's going to stay on the floor with 3 personals. This is where Cynthia Cooper says, I'm going to test my guards. Jaco had 3 yesterday, and she said, you've got to learn how to play with 3 fouls on you. And she did just that against Washington State. She handled it.
Well, what are you saving them for?
Yeah. Weisner collapsed upon and a jump ball as she brought the ball down and reaching in. Sadie Edwards gets the jump. It's going to go to USC.
The fight for the ball. Weisner surrounded by Trojans. Make it tough on the player of the year. Nothing easy. Coop on the sidelines urging her team.
Fade away, shot short, Hamblin with the rebound, and there was physical contact inside as Weiss and Simon got tangled up. Weiss gets back up. Had a mismatch for just a moment. Weisner trying to use the screen, keeps going. It's blocked out of bounds. It stays with Oregon State. 11 on the shot clock.
You have to compete every second of that offensive possession and stay with Weisner. Make a firm decision. You going over, you going behind? Is there going to be a hard hedge? What are you doing? And you have to execute.
Marguerite Effa back in, freshman out of Los Angeles.
The drive, trying to help. 14 fouls on USC, just 2 on Oregon State. Trying to be Velcro on Jamie Weisner.
Spin move, shot short, follows her shot, it's blocked. And a save inbounds by Hamblin. Full shot clock, and Weiss says, let's use it.
Look at all the energy SC has just put into the last 2 possessions, and you can't get the stop. And the stop's a finish with the ball.
A bit deflating. Big differential, 29-14 on the boards. Oregon State dominating. Weiss, not quite enough on it, and a rebound down to Effa. Extra passes. Beck Binley, shot is short. And you wonder, Mary, the bit of a knee bump last night and a tweak, and she's got the brace, not quite getting the elevation. She's been a little short on all of her shots.
She started 4 of 5, and since that point, she's 1 of 6.
They've got a nice brace that seems to look like it fits her well. It was interesting to say, we don't have one for her, but we're going to find one.
Yeah, I wondered where the room full of braces.
Where do they keep those?
Yes, it's like going to the department store of knee braces.
Brace division. Under a minute left in quarter 3.
Boy, they're putting a whole lot of size on Jaco, aren't they? Takes 2 dribbles to get around it.
Zeke, high archer is in. 3 ball.
Big bucket.
9 points for Aaliyah Mazik.
Anticipating, trying to step in front of some of these passes.
Oregon State, a 3-minute drought.
Gibson in the right corner, McWilliams in the left. Double high post.
Signer back in for the Beavs. Clock down to 3. Weiss partially blocked off the rim, and that will do it for quarter 3. So double-digit lead at 1 point for Oregon State. Got going in January of this year, and it took her a little bit of time, but she has worked her way into the system and now a starter for USC. This is crucial, this start of this quarter for USC, because they came out a little flat to start quarter 3, had to claw back. If they could continue now under double digits, I think this is a key moment for them. Weisner lost her footing. It's out of bounds. It's going to go to USC.
SC's done some very positive things. They have 4 of 16 turnovers. They've taken care of the ball. They only have 6. Weisner, you can see her foot, little double clutch, rolls it a bit. They have kept Oregon State off the free throw line. Oregon State just 4 of 9 from the free throw line. They have not done a good job of defending the 3. 7 of 12 from beyond the arc.
Yeah, the threes by Oregon State definitely hurting USC, but uncharacteristic of them not getting to the line more. Rebound down to Weisner. I was glad to see her get up. I was afraid she might have tweaked the ankle on that last play.
Well, you make that 3, and you're down 4.
Thieves on a drought. They have not scored since Weiss had a bucket back at the 3.5 mark in the third quarter, but there's the cleanup by Weisner.
Just a backbreaker. You have to be so strong-minded if you're USC to keep coming back, because Oregon State just keeps matching the challenge. Lead kind of gives, and they come right back with a big play like that.
Weisner, the leading scorer for Oregon State, averages 17 a game. She has 20 points tonight. Simon, spin move, takes it right, can't get it. Signer brings it down. It was a pretty move by Kristen Simon, but could not finish. Simon, top D on Hamlin. They get the steal. Jaco's running. Weiss tries to block it and instead knocks Jaco out of bounds.
Igniting the whole play on the defensive end, Kristen Simon. It's huge. The give up, the push ahead, Jaco with the speed, and the foul. And Weiss saying you're going to have to earn it at the free throw line.
Well, she made sure that she didn't have a chance at making that layup, as you see Jaco to the free throw line. Courtney Jaco, the junior out of Compton.
This night, 19 points, 5 of 6 from three-point range.
Timmy Fagbinley back in for the Trojans. Jaco, an all Pac-12 honorable mention member, 1 of 2 from the stripe. Offensive rebound to Fagbinley. Jaco, that's what she can do.
It's 6. And the question everybody's asking in orange in the stands, will our team finish?
Courtney Jaco brought out some threes in the second half last night against Washington State. Now guarding the best for Oregon State. Weisner, shot short. Edwards almost had it, and instead, offensive rebound to Oregon State. Weisner almost stepping out of bounds. Weiss, all by herself, drains it.
Great reaction from Tammy, saying that somebody's got to get out here and cover the 3. Jacobs had to work so hard on Weisner, maybe sapping some of the offensive energy.
You can understand why. Signer on Fagbinley. It's partially blocked off the backboard. It'll stay with USC with 11 on the shot clock.
Weisner kicks it out, lots of time, and Weiss, another dagger.
8 threes made by Oregon State tonight, the most since February 5th at Washington. Signer goes out. McWilliams is in.
Hansen 1 for 1. Weisner 4 for 4. Sid Weiss 3 of 7. Weisner, she hasn't missed from beyond the arc.
Edwards drives it in, blocked away.
I like Hamlin's attitude. You've been in here an awful lot, and it's about time I block one of your shots.
It's what I do. Ruth Hamlin, 8th in the nation in that category. She averages 3 per game. Whistle blows, the foul against Sadie Edwards, her second.
These drives are starting to get on my nerves, so there you go.
These guards.
When you're the Canadian Hammer, you have a reputation that you must keep intact.
I mean, they don't just make T-shirts for anyone. You've got your Canadian Hammer T-shirts out there. Got to live up to it. There they are. Don't hide it, sir. Show it.
It's a tough spot for Kristen Simon on the switch out. You're supposed to guard Weiss out there. That just becomes a defensive adventure.
Lloyd with 3 personals, Simon with 3 personals, Zeke as well. A little foul trouble for USC. Hunter, high post, brings it low and kicks it out.
All this movement on the weak side. USC having to adjust and move and adjust and move, and it all takes energy.
Clock down to 3, takeaway by Mazik. She's going to push right at Hunter. Didn't quite get the balance, and somehow it comes back down to Fagbinley, and she tosses it right into the hands of Weiss.
SC wants it ragged. They want it like this, but you must finish. It's an interesting stat. Oregon State, this is the most turnovers since January 4th at UCLA. That's a game that I did, and UCLA just pummeled Oregon State. I think it was 27 turnovers that day.
Yeah, that was a long time ago to kick off the first weekend of Pac-12 play, and UCLA took it to Oregon State. 19 turnovers in this one, but USC has not been able to get quite enough off of them.
Keep in mind, Sid Weiss did not play in that game.
Sweet stroke there from Sadie Edwards.
That same weekend, SC lost to Oregon State by 8 at the Galen Center. Played them well.
They had Brianna Barrett at that time, a different looking USC team also. As
play some D, and every possession is huge.
51 of the 58 Oregon State points from that trio. They're relying heavily on the starters for USC. 9 points off the bench from Mazik. She's been very good.
Ran the elevator play for Jaco. Just not enough up on the shot by Simon.
Those are the ones that have to go late in the game. Can't quite get it. Sid Weiss happy to work a little clock. Weisner got her legs under it a little too much, maybe overcompensating on that, and now Edwards will push. Spin move, lefty layup, pretty.
Wow.
Like her game.
Yes, man.
Fun to watch. Sadie Edwards.
It's 6. How about these Trojans? They are just digging in every possession. They will not go away.
Well, Cynthia Cooper, the head coach, told us, she told her team, hey, there's no more saving energy. This is it. Put it all out there. She was that kind of player. She's expecting the same.
Open floor. How are you going to defend it? Spin in the paint. That's a tough move.
If Mary Queen a second pure silk play the game, I think that might get it. That would have been it. She was just a little late on that one. Weisner, nowhere to go inside. Gulich is back in the high post.
Plenty of time for a reset.
Hamlin, great positioning.
Offensive foul, pushing off. Tammy gives Simon 5 and says, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now it's time for her to come alive on the offensive end. Gulich is matched up. Hamlin on Simon.
Gulich and Hamlin, 3 personals apiece.
Will Oregon State tighten up?
Edwards, shot no good, but she gets fouled by Weisner.
Hey, one thing we know, Sadie Edwards is going to find a way to get a shot up, and that's important. 3rd team foul, but this one's a shooting foul.
First personal against Weisner, and tonight the averages well below where they typically are for Scott Ruick's team. .20 points for Sadie Edwards, trying to add to it. Misses.
Could there be 2 upsets of great magnitude in one day here in Seattle?
Edwards gets called a little too much, trying to get over the screen. That's going to be her 3rd.
3rd team foul.
Without a Jordan Adams, without a Brianna Barrett, 2 leaders that are ineligible for USC, what a plus to have a player like Sadie Edwards in the confidence. She's a playmaker, and it's what they lost losing those 2 players. And a little too physical inside as Simon guarding Ruth Hamlin, and Hamlin didn't look happy about it.
Well, how'd you like to be Ruth Hamlin? You are just totally getting backed in by Hamlin, and you know you're in trouble. That ball comes inside. It's going to be an easy 2. It's a good foul. switch the matchup now. Get a little more length on Ruth Hamblin. And you've got to stay loose on her.
Weiss connects again. Another three for Oregon State.
Confident shot.
9 threes for the Beavers. Edwards trying to get some spacing off the front of the rim. It's tipped out to Mazik.
Finally, defensively, Oregon State forces a jump shot instead of letting her get to the rim. Timeout.
After our game in Seattle, Pure Silk basketball post-game report with Ashley, Ann, and Roz. They're going to recap all of today's quarterfinal games. You don't want to miss that.
There's a lot to talk about.
There sure is. Jaco in and out, and the rebound to Hamblin. It's tipped out of bounds, and it will stay with Oregon State. Now full court pressure by USC with 2:04 left.
Hanson released so much pressure off Weiss with her ability to bring the ball up the floor. Now you bring Weiss back to it, and you run the set. Scott Rook's like a baseball manager with how he calls plays. I mean, it's like...
Signs down. 7 on the clock. Gulich in the high post. Weisner, offensive rebound, and that might just do it.
Again, the value of a rebounding guard. Post can do all the hard work, but if you can fly in there because the guards aren't paying attention to the box out.
9th rebound for Jamie Weisner. Elevates, can't get the shot. Simon gets the board.
Gotta go.
SC needs a hoop quickly. Mazik blocked out of bounds.
Just calm. Length of the floor. Hamblin. We've told the story so many times. When she got to campus, the first thing they worked on, and we're going to get you to be a good shot blocker. We're going to worry about offense later.
She has the timing down. They have done an excellent job. She's put in the extra time and effort, and it's paid off. A minute left. SC's got to have some scoring.
Can't go east and west.
Just running out of time. Beck-Binley off the front of the rim.
And the sensational one-year career for Temi is coming to an end.
4th double-double on the season for Jamie Weisner. That was her 10th rebound. And the Beaver Nation on their feet as Hanson gets a bucket.
You really have to tip your hat to both teams. First of all, SC. They have battled and never gave an inch, but Oregon State responded time and time again. They are the hunted. Everybody wants to beat Oregon State, and they responded each and every time they needed to.
Yeah, it's a different position when you've got that target on your back. For SC, nothing to lose. A lot of credit to them, the effort that they gave. Impressive tournament for the redshirt senior, or the 5th-year senior rather, Temi Beck-Binley. Cynthia Cooper has to be proud of the effort her team has given here in the tournament.
Beaver Nation in orange. It's been a little bit of an orange out here tonight. I wonder if the orange will stick around to scout possibly Stanford or UW.
They might. That will do it. Oregon State, their 26th win on the season. They've now won 16 of their last 17 games.